Right. Let's put that on mute. Let's wait about 5 minutes. Let some people get in here. Hopefully the audio is a bit better today. Got the microphone plugged in. Again, this isn't the most polished of streams. I won't be painting this one though. Right. Okay, audio's pretty good, I think. I'm not sure. Let's have a look. Yeah, that's pretty good. Right, again, I'll have to say sorry about the clear mess that's in my workshop or garage. When you work full time and try and do this as a hobby, it's a bit overwhelming. Well, not overwhelming. You don't get a lot of time. As you can see, I've got sort of cams over here, some brakes up here. But I'll give it about 5 minutes and I'll start the streams like properly. I think right now it's letting a few people get in here. I've got 3 people at the moment. Apparently saying my chat's not connected. I don't know what that's all about. Let's have a look. Let's see what's going on. Test the chat. Yep, chat's working. Have a look. This is one of the things where, obviously, the more you do it, the more you iron the kinks out. I think the audio is still pretty bad. It's not picking up too greatly on the actual, what I can see on the actual screen. The audio is not too great. So I think that's saying I'm going to have to address something I'm going to have to address. But we'll give it 2 minutes and then I will start what I'm actually here to talk about on a lovely, muggy Wednesday evening in London. I think we had 7 people last time, 8 people. I'm not sure what it peaked at. It might have been 10. I can't quite remember. I have to go back to that old stream. That's what my notes say. Right, 4 minutes 30. I think that is long enough to wait. I don't know if a notification went out about this live stream. I think it's one of the things where I think because it's a small channel, I don't think it posts a lot about it. I don't know. I don't know what's quite going on with YouTube at the moment. All right, let's minimize that and start the live stream. Right, so hello and welcome to this Cars and Engineering live stream. For the 3 of you watching, thank you very much. Much appreciated. This live stream, as the title suggests, is about E10 in the UK, which is ethanol 10. It's a new fuel variant that we're getting. And it's also about the Lamborghini Countach. The new version just come out. I think it's been about 50 or 60 years since they used that name. And it's the first time that Lamborghini's ever recycled a name. It's based largely upon the Aventador, but I'll get back into that a little bit later. For now, I'm going to be talking about E10 Fuel. And I've done a little bit of research, spoke to a few people, and it's a bit of a mixed bag, really. E10 is one of them things where everyone thinks it's a tinfoil hat conspiracy, or some people think it's a tinfoil hat conspiracy against like emissions and just general things about the automotive industry. Some things add up, some things don't. Again, it's one of them things. It's subjective to what people think. E10 is one of the things where it's how do I explain it? It's there to help the environment. That's the way it's been pegged anyway. That's the way it's been sold. More ethanol in the fuel is a better, a more efficient way to lower greenhouse gases or CO2 going into the atmosphere. It's quite boring when you look into the actual science of it. It's quite a boring thing, but it's making fuel less bad for the environment. I know like there's a massive push in the EU at the moment for fuel to go more economical. Not just economical, but they're also obviously phasing out internal combustion engines or ICE engines. And obviously the push now is for electric. I think nearly every manufacturer in Europe now from 2030 will not produce a petrol or diesel engine. I think it's legislation now. I don't think they're allowed to. So maybe ethanol based fuel is probably the future for like gearheads or petrol heads or things like that, because we've been using ethanol based fuels for about 10 years now. It's not been particularly clear on how long that's been around. So 10 years probably was 2010, 2011. I know that most cars, or since 2011, all new cars sold in the UK, I can't say about other countries, but all cars sold in the UK have had to be E10 compatible. So this has been coming for a while. It's not just like one day, or the last couple of years, the government or the UK government have decided to just chuck in E10 fuel. It's been probably on the cards for about 10, 15 years, perhaps. It's hard to tell. It's hard to say how long it's been in the cars. But since 2011, all new cars have been made to accept E10. Now, E10 is basically ethanol 10% or up to 10%. Ethanol is it's made from like sugar cane, things like that. And it's one of the things where if you've got a massive landmass country like the USA, Australia, Brazil, places like that, I think Brazil uses exclusively ethanol 100, which is 100% biofuel. I'm not sure about their diesel, but I know they use 100% biofuel in their cars because they have the landmass required to grow millions upon millions of tons of sugarcane to be converted into fuel. Now, the Society of Motor Manufacturers and Traders in the UK, they're saying that apparently 92% of cars or petrol engine vehicles on the road now in the UK are compatible with E10. Now, what's in the other 7.8% in the UK? There's a lot of classic cars involved in that will not accept E10. E10 does eat away at like fiberglass resins, things like that. So it's all things that it's kind of important. Like if you've got a fiberglass, let's pop out the chat and see if it's working. Restore the chat. Why is it not? Chat's being a bit weird. There you go. Right. I don't know if anyone said anything because I can't see it. It's saying not connected, so we'll have to just bear with that one. And you'll just have to listen to me ramble for the next God knows how long, or however long till my laptop dies, which is apparently an hour and 11 minutes. Right, where was I? Right, E10, yes. It's E10 is also less efficient than petrol, or E5, I should call it. E10's ethanol is less calorific than petrol. Therefore, it's got less energy mass. So people with small cars, like little city cars, anything probably like 1.5 and below, they're probably going to benefit the worst from this, because that short journeys do drink quite a lot of fuel, and because it's less efficient, your car will be burning more to get the same horsepower, if not more. I'll go back into that in a little while, because there's certain benefits to ethanol, especially like, and when you start getting to like E85, which is what Australia has quite a lot of E85 available, because again of the landmass. Let's have a little look. But yeah, the pros of E10 is that. Let me just have a look at my notes. Where have I put that? It seems I didn't find a lot of pros for E10. Apparently E10 isn't as great as the E85, which is a bit strange. But yeah, I did go and say that bioethanol content in fuel, obviously we're going from 5%, well, up to 5% to, up to 10%. This makes it more corrosive to rubber parts, gaskets, seals, metals, and plastics. And it can cause engine damage. It could also dislodge deposits already inside the engine. So, for instance, if you've got intake valves that don't use, or direct intake valves, so they don't have a steady supply of fuel to keep cleaning them, it could dislodge a massive chunk of carbon and then send it through the car and therefore do damage. That's especially with older cars. And again, it does attack things inside the engine as well as outside the engine. For instance, if you leave ethanol in a fuel tank for a while, it will make the car hard to start, especially in winter months, things like that. I know E5, which is the standard at the moment, will be available for at least 5 years, and then they're going to review it. I do think it will probably go to E10 then, and then E10, as we know it now, will probably go up to E15 or 20 or 25. I think it's slowly going to phase in and possibly work its way up to E85, but then the cost savings that the Australians have, which is considerable, because I think in Australia right now, let's have a look. Australia E85 cost. E85 at the moment in Australia is 90 cents per litre. So that's Australian as well. So Australian 90 cent, is it? Yes, 90 cent in Australia dollars, or Australian dingo dollars, is 47p in the UK. So if we can translate that over to obviously how much it costs for the tank, then the savings that could be there are incredible. Because obviously, I think at the moment, premium fuel is sitting at £1.40 a litre at the moment in the UK. What's that? Yeah, it's about £1.40 a litre at the moment for premium fuel in the UK, which is frankly daylight robbery. That's gone up about 12p, I think. Doesn't sound like a lot, but that's about £6 or £7 a litre, £6 or £7 a tank more, depending on where you fill up. I think places like Shell and that, they're probably being ridiculous and having charging like £1.45 a litre. But you're going to need to pay at the end of the day. I don't know what the prices are at the moment in like the rest of Europe and America. I know America's fuel is pretty cheap. There's some places with good high quality fuel and some places with bad quality fuel, but I'm not too sure about that. I haven't been there. Yeah, so E10 in the winter, the high ethanol content in petrol can make it harder to turn an engine over from cold. I know ethanol also attracts water, so obviously water in a fuel system isn't great. But diesel especially, because obviously it's a compression engine. Petrol even more so, because obviously it's a solvent engine. Water and petrol is bloody bad. I know that ethanol can vapor lock an engine as well because of the way the way petrol becomes gaseous, things like that. Ethanol can also burn through gaskets, seals, materials, and also, like I said, delaminate fiberglass resins. So if you've got an old Mini or something like that with an old fiberglass tank, if you fill it up with E10 and leave it, it'll probably eat through it, and you'll probably have a big puddle of E10 on the floor, and obviously whatever's left of your fuel tank. And obviously that then attributes to then more leaks. It can eat through rubbers and fuel lines, things like that. So there's probably a lot of cars at the moment. I think this estimated there's about 600,000 cars on UK roads at the moment that will need modification to go to E10. But I'm not painting a very good light for E10 because the damage it can do to your engine is frankly terrible. It's not something. What's that? My local Shell is 150 for V-Power. Yeah, Shell do take the P, Michael. They really do. I've stopped using them. For my car, it's not remapped, as you'll probably be aware. I use Momentum 99 from Tesco. I have actually filled up with the E10 standard. I wasn't really paying attention. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning, and it ran fine. I think the ECU is pretty smart enough to know that when to back up the timing or whatever. So I don't think it's too much of an issue at the moment. I think if you're trying to run E50 or E85 on an engine that's got nothing to do with it, then I think that's when you're really going to get issues. I've seen some tests of people putting momentum. Yeah, I got a Tesco Club card as well. The amount I spend on fuel every month is ridiculous. So I get I think it's like £4 or £5 a voucher every month or so. So it's well worth it. It's whatever's nearby really. If you have to put E10 in, although it's not going to cause catastrophic failure. At the end of the day, it is what it is. If you were putting like LPG and something, that's when you're really gonna have trouble. But yeah, also ethanol can become prone to being acidic, and it can also eat through aluminium, zinc, and galvanized materials, as well as brass, copper, and steels, which is obviously concerning because it's E85. But something that on the flip side of this, on E10, obviously, it's probably a stairway or a pathway to E85 and or high ethanol contents, which is both a blessing and a curse in a way, because sorry, I just got a notification. It's not something that will probably be in the UK anytime soon because it was commercially available by I think Morrison's supplied it. It's a supermarket chain here in the UK. That was in 2006, but I think they promptly pulled the plug on that because no one was really equipped to use it. So E85 is currently, as of 2021, August the 18th, E85 is not commercially available in the UK. Now, you can buy it from specialist race car fuel suppliers, but it is going to cost you quite a fair amount of money. And again, if you're not equipped for it, then there's no point in using it. There are two sides to every coin, don't get me wrong. Like, in the UK as well, as I mentioned, there's not enough land mass in the UK to justify growing it for non-food reasons. Obviously, the UK is an island. We have a fair amount of greenery, but nowhere near what America and Australia has. So, again, it throws into doubt whether E85 will be a treat as cheap as the Australians, or as it is here for the Australians. Obviously, 47p, 90 cents. I wouldn't mind paying 47p a litre. That'd be pretty epic, if I'm honest. It means a lot more driving about and probably doing shit I shouldn't. Also, most cars wouldn't be compatible with it without major modification. That probably means as well cars manufactured from 2011 onward. So again, it's up in the air about that one. Now, E85, as the name suggests, is ethanol 85% or up to 85%. That ratio is normally between 51% and 85%. So it varies greatly. I think you can probably buy purer versions of it at certain places. I've got a fox on my roof. Bugger off. So it's between 51% and 85%. So like you can buy probably different qualities. Like you can here, you can buy different like levels of like premium leaded. I think it goes up to 99 now. I think it was at 98, 99. I think there used to be a 100 octane rating in the UK, but I think that was pulled. I'm not sure if it was like Harvest or Texaco or something like that. They used to do. They used to do it. I can't remember where. I think it might have been Shell V Power Nitro Plus, but that was like 20p a litre more. And frankly, I refuse to pay that because that is epically taking the piss. But E85 is also less calorific than petrol, but it has an added benefit of cooling the air fuel ratio down, or the air fuel mix down, which can in turn give you more power. And I think there's a couple of channels. I think Mighty Car Mods have done a few things on it, running the 85 with a flex fuel sensor, from Haldex. Running that, basically, you can put whatever you want in there. Obviously, petrol, E10, E85, E5, whatever you put in it, the ECU will know what you're running and adjust accordingly. If you've got the fuel system there to handle E85 or anything you put for it, more or less, you can put what you want for it with that flex fuel sensor. I think it's basically a spectrometer, and it tells the car or tells the ECU what is going through it. But there's some of the downsides of E85 as well as E10, but there's some obviously positive effects as well. But there's fewer emissions due to less actual mass being burnt. But then obviously if you're burning less mass, you need, but obviously it goes back to the calorific value. If there's calorific value there, you need more fuel to get where you're going. So yes, it's fewer emissions, but on the other side of that, you need to burn more. So it's kind of, as long as it's broad, really, it's not really solving a problem that you think there's there. But one amazing effect of E85 is it has a higher octane than gasoline. Obviously, I've just been mentioning, obviously, Momentum 99, which is obviously 99 octane. And I've obviously mentioned that Nitro Plus, I think that was 100 octane. I don't know, someone might correct me if I'm wrong. Where that's 100 octane, that it's the octane rating is how hard it is to ignite. So you're less, you've got less detonation, you've got less pinking, and so the engine doesn't have to back the timer off as much, so you can keep it going. It's able to resist compression and detonation, which would increase the rate at which the engine would work. So obviously, the higher or the harder an engine's working, the more power it's producing. And as I said before, professional race car drivers use it. They use more ethanol in their tanks because of this exact reason. Obviously, they will use more fuel, but they'll have the power advantage of having ethanol in their tank rather than petrol. As I mentioned before, price per gallon, it's premium gasoline now, obviously £1.40, £1.50 if you're unlucky. In the US, in the United States or Australia, it is 47p or pence. That's in pound sterling in the UK. Not every gas station provides E85 in Australia anyway. There are more popping up every year. Obviously, at the moment, that is not the case for the UK. My personal opinion is that E10 is kind of a step in the right direction. It could eventually lead to E85, but there's no guarantee of that because obviously, like I said before, there's not enough land mass for us to produce the E85. So we'd probably have to import it from the continent, Europe, France, Germany, whoever's the biggest supplier in Germany, in Europe. So I wouldn't expect it to be 47p a litre. It'll probably be about £1 again after import taxes and all the other stuff the government decides to chuck on to tax you even further into the actual sinkhole of money. Where is? Yeah, but obviously at the moment there's 600,000 cars that can't run an E10. So if we went to E85, I can imagine that 600,000 would quickly become millions. So without costly modifications. So as well, I think it's a way of slowly getting rid of older cars by adding fuel tax to sort of get them off the road. Premium petrol has gone up by 12 pence a litre. I've been through that already. It's a fair amount when filling the tank. £6 to £7 more expensive per tank. And say if you filled up your tank 10 times in a year, that's £60 to £70 extra out of your pocket. And 60 quid at the end of the day. It's shopping for like 2 or 3 weeks for a family of 4. So I think the government are probably trying to hit emissions and like EU legislation to try and bring down the CO2 content, but at the same time, people on lower income households are probably going to really not benefit from this at all, because frankly it's money out of people's pockets. Yes, the government are trying to do the right thing by reducing CO2, but at what cost are they reducing it at? Because it's again, it's more efficient fuel, but you've got to use more of it to get where you're going. So is it better or is it not better? It's one of them things. But in my opinion as well, as the infinite content goes up, it's going to put more and more cars at risk of being damaged, or people having to spend money to keep their cars on the road, which I think they're going to do this to get rid of petrol cars, to promote electric cars, Teslas, and all the electrical stuff coming on along the way. I think that's probably another chat for another time. But unless the E85 becomes prominent, or we sort of develop another biofuel, I really do think that we, as petrol heads, are in trouble, because electric cars are fun and all, but they're kind of boring. It's like driving a fridge or a microwave. It does a job. With cars, with engines, with oil and everything that go wrong with them, it's the pantomime. It's the vibration of the engine. It's the steering. It's everything that comes together. Whether you're driving a shit car or a good car, you can have a lot of fun in the shit car because you're on the limit very quickly. Whereas obviously in a bigger car or a more tuned car, whatever, they're all different. When you drive an electric car, and I've never driven electric go-karts, I haven't actually driven an electric car yet, there's no soul to them. There's no it's just an appliance. There's nothing in it. It's just boring, in my opinion, anyway. But let's have a look at the chat before I keep rumbling away. Right, let's have a look. E10 has been a rush release. It's not something that touched my Polo. You say that, but I think they've probably had it in the pipeline for about 10 years now, because in 2011, by law, manufacturers had to make their cars suitable for E10. So it's probably been on the way. I mean, like, the UK government couldn't organise a piss up in a brewery, so it's not something I think they've probably thought through well. It's probably something that's probably been in the pipeline for a while, but it's probably, like you said, it's probably been rushed. As your Polo's been remapped, yeah. Like if it's been remapped, like I've said, E85 will be kind of a blessing. You might have to change some fuel system components, but it's nothing that's like out of the realms of possibility. Because I think remapping nowadays is about 400 quid. So I think having probably a pump that's suitable for E85 and probably some pipelines that's suitable for E85 is probably not out of the realms of doing, because frankly it's I think fuel pumps nowadays about £100, give or take, and unless you fit it yourself, it's probably fitting yourself is free, other than some clips and some pipes. And then I think fuel line's quite cheap. I think it's about £1 a metre or something like that. Depends what car you've got, really. I know on the Polo is quite cheap because they're cheap cars. Well, on the grand scheme of things. Michael Baxter. I'm making assumptions and no, but as for example, low-income families who may typically have an older car that they can't run E10, they may be forced to buy super on the E5 content. Bit unfair for some. Yeah, it is unfair for some. Like I've said, it's 6 to 7 pounds a litre. Oh, sorry, 6 to 7 pounds a tank more for the E5 stuff, and all of the petrol stations know that a lot of cars have to have E5 content, and obviously we're safe for about 5 years, so that's 2026-ish, depending on if they push that forward or not. So yeah, I think that's really not fair to some people on lower incomes, because 60-70 pound in your back burner or your pocket, it does good. It helps people out. It's not something that can be taken lightly at the end of the day. But But again, if we go up to the 85, there's no guarantee that's going to be cheap either, because we'll more than likely have to import it. Christ knows from where. But once import tax hit it and the government take their little cut of the pie, or massive cut of the pie, and leave you a little slice, then Christ knows that they could. At the end of the day, the government can charge what they bloody want for things, because they are the government, and that's it. At the end of the day, you ain't really got a say in it, if I'm honest. They probably will do a scrappage scheme, if I'm honest, Michael. I know the last scrappage scheme took something like, I think it's like, I don't know how many actually. Let me have a look at that and see if there's anything on Google. I know the last scrappage scheme. Sorry. Let's see. I don't know. I can't quite remember. Apparently there was 327 cars that went to the scrappage scheme. Most scrappage scheme went to the government to get a £2,000 discount off the purchase of a new car. A lot of these were the 2002 BMW, Audi Quattro 20 valves. Apparently Morgans were part of it. Triumph Dolomites, Triumph Spitfires, MG Midgets, Jaguars, classic Jags, XJSs, Peugeot GTI. Apparently there was on Honda Integra Rs, Ford Capri Gears. There was a Lancia Delta HF, a Lancia Beta Spider, Mercedes 560, a Fiat X19. Yeah, so I think the scrappage scheme absolutely decimated the classic car market, which obviously is terrible. Well, not the market, but it just decimated the classic car world, because we did lose quite a lot of classics. But again, if they do it again, I think that ended in 2009, a scrappage scheme. Obviously, we're 10, 12 years on from that. Classics are dying every day. E10 is probably going to be one of the last nails in that bloody coffin, because a lot of people with classic cars can't actually afford to run them and do them up. They're sitting on them because they think they're going to be future money makers, and frankly, they probably are. But there's no point in holding on to cars, especially like old Ferraris and that. But if you can't run them on anything, if there's no petrol about, if it's only E85 and you've got a £2 million Ferrari, I don't see anyone taking tools to the fuel system, because you're probably gonna do more harm than good. End of the day. Right, let's have a look. Let's have a look chat. Finally caught the live, Ryan Greeny. Thank you, Ryan. Yeah, VW split screen. They are at the moment like rocking all shit, because I think a lot of people traded them in because they also rust like bloody anything. VW, have a look. For sale in the UK. At the moment, there's one for £40,000 on eBay. On classic cars, yeah, they're sitting about £40,000. So, yeah, if your dad's mate actually didn't trade that car in, he would have got about £38,000 more than the government actually offered him. So, but again, you don't know how people are. It could have been one of the things where it's just sat on the drive and rusted to bits. It could have been one of the ones that were bloody immaculate and now sitting somewhere and just rotting away. So the scrappage scheme was the beginning of the end, I think. I think this has been in play for good 10, 15 years now. Obviously, we didn't know electric cars would be a prominent. I think that was a massive gap in the market that wasn't filled. And obviously, Tesla came along, improved technology, made it free to use. Now, I think Peugeot have electric cars, Nissan have electric cars, VW have electric cars, which then also will then filter to Audi, Seat, Skoda, Lamborghini, Bentley. I don't think they own Bugatti anymore, but I think Bugatti was bought by, not Fisker, the other one. I think Hammond crashed one of their cars on Top Gear or the Grand Tour. I can't remember the name. Not Fisker. Let's have a look. Oh, Rimac. That's it. Rimac. There you go. Rimac is the company that bought Bugatti, which means they must have a fair bit of money to buy something off VW. So yeah, there's the potential for electric cars is massive, but as I've said previously, electric cars are boring. Yeah, they're probably fun in the straight line, and like I've had Teslas like try and race me on the motorway. Well, race me on the motorway, and there really is no point. Yeah, there you go, Ash. Yeah, Rimac. Yeah, but there really is no point if even bothering with Teslas because at the end of the day it's Tesla. Especially when you've got a standard Polo pushing 150 brake, there's no point at all. So you get people in their fancy cars trying to race you in a bright red Polo. There's no point really. Just sort of let them get on with it. Occasionally, anyway. I think I've raced a R32 recently, but that's something for another time, perhaps. Not nothing. Private road for legal reasons. Right. So the other thing I wanted to chat about was Lamborghini. Lamborghini have bought out a new car. Well, I say a new car. It's a new car built on the Aventador chassis. And it's the new Lamborghini Countach. It's so I don't know if I can get. I'm quite a master of this live streaming business, so I'm gonna have to get you a picture on my phone. Yeah, let's have a look. See if you can see it. That is the new Lamborghini Countach. I'm going to have to use OBS Studio, I think, so I can actually split my screen so people can see my screen and I can see you lot, or I can see this lovely thing here. What's this? Got ITV messaging me. They can go away. Yes, Lamborghini Countach. It's a revival of the iconic supercar from the, I think, early 80s or mid 80s, I think it was. Oh no, sorry, late 70s. Early 70s, but it was bought out in 1974. Yeah, 1974 it came out. It's a limited run of 112. It's got a carbon chassis and body, so it makes it extremely lightweight but strong. It's running 814 horsepower from a V12 engine, and obviously in this day and age, as we just spoke about, or as I've just rambled on about E10 and ethanol and emissions and that, a V12 in 2021 is probably one of the last production cars that will have a V12 in any capacity, especially seeing as it is a 6.5 litre V8 producing 780 brake horsepower. The reason why it makes 814 horsepower is because it's hybrid. Now, I think that is probably the only way they've managed to get a V12 in a new Lamborghini in this day and age is by making it hybrid. So much so, the thing that reinforces that fact is that the hybrid system only produces 34 horsepower, but it uses capacitors, not batteries, so they can contain a lot more energy and they charge a lot quicker as well. Yeah, but there's clean lines, no wings on this one. I've seen a few concepts of what it was look like with wings, and it does, frankly, in my opinion, look better. But yeah, 780 brake comes from the engine, 34 brake horsepower comes from the hybrid, producing a total horsepower of 814. Let's have a look. Control. Got a link here. Yeah, it's built upon the It's built upon the Aventador chassis. It's got NACA style air ducts, which are like the ones on the side. They're like low profile ducts that comes from aerospace. Quad exhaust, LED brake lights. It's got the same 6.5 litre V12 as the limited edition Lamborghini Sian. It's also apparently likely that's the last time Lamborghini used its supercapacitor hybrid system. As I said, supercapacitors racked more quickly than conventional batteries. They charge more quickly and are lighter. Apparently, Lamborghini is stating that the supercapacitors give 3 times more power compared to a lithium-ion battery the same weight, but they can't hold on to a charge for long. For that reason, Lamborghini is likely to switch to a plug-in hybrid V12 for its next flagship supercar. So, if Lamborghini are likely to probably use a V12 again, it will probably be a plug-in, so it won't be a pure fire-breathing Lambo. But at the end of the day, as long as there's a V12 in it and not fully electric, I think that is a good step in that direction. 0 to 62 in 2.8 seconds and 0 to 124 miles per hour in 8.6 seconds. Now, I think my Polo does 0 to 60 in 7.2 seconds on a good day. No, 7.2, I think that's ambitious. I think it's 8.2 seconds. So a Lamborghini began 124 miles an hour before I'm even at 60. So that sort of gives you an aspect on how quick that is. And it also has a top speed of 207. And it's four-wheel drive, just like the Cian and the Aventador, but they're basically the same car underneath. I would hazard a guess they're probably the same part numbers. Apparently, a lot of the plastic on it is made via 3D printing. Apparently, the roof is photochromatic, which means that it goes from solid to transparent at the push of a button. So you can have a panoramic sunroof, more or less. 21-inch wheels. And it's expected to be priced between the Sian was put on sale at 2.6 million. So you can expect the Countach will probably be around £2.5 million. That's like UK pounds. So yeah, it's there's a picture here. Let me show you a picture there of the two cars side by side. I mean, they kind of look okay. Like, obviously that's the old one, that's the new one. They've basically just dressed up an Aventador to look like a Countach, basically. So there's a lot of things styling wise between the two. They've obviously used the pattern, but they've got that on the Aventador. They've got the scoop there, which probably didn't actually do anything on the original 74 Countach, but on this one, it's probably doing something. Let me just focus that. There we go. That's better. I think they've tried, but I think this is a little bit of a money spinner. I don't think this is anything that's worth. Let me move you back over it. I don't think there's anything that's. It'll probably be a collector's item in future, but I'd imagine at the moment it's probably just to drive some sales up. I can imagine that Lamborghini aren't exactly RB, isn't he? Hello, RB. I can imagine that Lamborghini isn't exactly hard up for cash at the moment, but could it be a future classic? Probably, maybe. Well, it's hard to tell, really. But yeah, this is it's hard. It's hard to talk about a car that is yet to be built. I think they've got prototypes, but unless you see a car out in the flesh and things like that, not like I see a lot of Lamborghinis, obviously, but it's just one of the things. It's subjective to what people like. I like it. I'd have one, but I do think it's a bit of a money spinner for VW. But yeah, I think that's I've got to the end of my script. Unless anyone has anything to talk about, put in the chat if there's anything that you'd like to ask. I will edit this and put this back up as a standard video, hopefully with a little bit less rambling inside it. But yeah, if you got this far, thank you very much. It's how many got now? I've got 3 people watching. Well, I think it's on 8 a minute ago or 9 a minute ago. I'm not too sure. I can't really see. The screen's a little bit far away. It's a bit dim. I've got the laptop in energy saving mode because it's apparently I've got 28 minutes left of battery. Yeah, if you're not watching this live, then obviously make sure you subscribe. If you're probably watching this live, then you probably are already subscribed. Channel's doing very well at the moment, I must say. As you can see, all this crap here is in one way or another to do with video. So like I said before, brakes over here, there's some cams here. I've got all the camshells off of the head that I've already stripped down. But I've actually got another head on the way. Pending Saturday, I've got to pick another head up, strip that down. I'll probably strip that down on live stream. Only because I've done a video on heads already, or stripping down a head. I think I've done 2 or 3 videos actually. It's not particularly riveting, but if you do it in a live stream, people can ask you, "Oh, how did you do that?" or "Why did you do that?" or there's things that you can ask in live stream that you can't actually ask while watching a video because it's pre-recorded. Getting yourself a 9M3 on Friday. Yeah, well, good choice of car. Make sure, obviously, you do your research. Things to look out for. I think console bushes. They like to shit themselves. Steering racks like to go. They have a lot of play on them now and then. You just got to be careful, really. Make sure you get the timing belt changed. That's probably, what's the word? The most important thing, getting the timing belt changed. And the auxiliary belt takes like 10 minutes change. But no, yeah, you should be excited. They're fun cars. They're not exactly the quickest thing on the planet, but with the 1.8 20 valve turbo inside it, it was good then. Brand new steering rack, brand new timing belt. Yeah, sounds perfect, if I'm honest. You can do quite a lot of them. There's a 9M3 GTI Owners Club on Facebook. I'd recommend joining that because there's some very knowledgeable people in there. There's also some very good tuners in there that will probably help you tune it. But I've got to change the steering rack on my Polo. It's 160,000 kilometers. Where's that? Is that Australia that you're in? Yeah. I don't know what 160,000 kilometers equate to, but I think my car just hit, Germany. I think my car just hit 156,000 miles, and it's like, touch wood, it's still going pretty strong. Obviously, I've had the aircon give up on me. I've had an auto give up on me. Yeah, it's going well for how much abuse I give it, which is a fair amount. It's yet to see a track. Hopefully, that's 100,000. That's not bad in the day. One thing to look out for if you're tuning it is the fuel pump. I did do a video on the fuel pump. It can get a bit weak around 100,000 miles or 160,000 kilometers. Yeah, it can get a bit weak. That's why I upgraded it to an APS one. I think it took about 2 hours. Right. But yeah, good luck. I know Germany's quite difficult with modification laws, things like that, because everything has to be TUV approved. And I don't, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think you can work on your car outside. I think in Germany you can't actually work on your car outside on like driveways, and I think you have to go to a specialist garage, and like rent garage time. I'm not, yeah. Andre Puck, how to find analog car parts, no body, like Honda Odyssey on UK market. Your best bet is probably Copart. It's a scrap website where basically if someone crashes a car, the entire car is for sale. You can normally bid on them. I know Copart do sponsor quite a few bigger YouTube motoring channels. I haven't had an email from them just yet. Always welcome to email me anytime. A little bit of sponsorship, it never hurts. But yeah, that's probably your best bet. Look for car companies that sell scrap. It's a bit of a loose word, scrap, because I've seen cars in there with a dented wing and they've been written off and they're up for like £1,500. It's you got to look around really. Probably just finding single parts. eBay. You can also look on Autodoc. Autodoc, they sell a lot of parts pretty cheap. I think in my latest video, the aircon one, I mentioned that a new air compressor pump or an air conditioning pump on Euro Car Parts, which is a car place over in the UK, they were charging £400 for an air conditioning compressor, whereas Autodoc were offering, I think it's £120 for the exact same parts if you got to wait about 2 weeks. New parts like pads, drop links, ball joints. It depends where you are, Andre. If you're in Europe, I'd suggest Autodoc. They're probably your best bet. If you're in Asia and that, I'm not too sure. Autodoc might ship to Asia or the Americas. I'm not too 100%. Oh, you're in UK, yeah. Use Autodoc. Download the app on your phone. I'll show you what it looks like. Yeah, it's a Autodoc. Basically, it's got all your stuff and you can choose different cars. You've got the brakes, oils, things like that. Damping, chains, rollers, whatever. So say for instance you need the brakes, you can just all you got to do is add a car. You can either choose make, model. So what you're looking at an Odyssey. Yeah, Japan will be very expensive, but it'll be a Honda Odyssey. Yeah, so let's have a look. Honda. So they've got Odyssey on here. Yeah, Odyssey. They've got the 95 to 2000, 1998 onwards, 2004 to 2010. Let's bring it over here. Let's see if it'll focus. Yeah, they've got a fair amount. So say if it's 2004 to 2010, you've got the 3.5, all the 3.5s with VTEC. So yeah, I think Autodoc will probably be your best bet on that one. You can get pretty much everything from Autodoc, and I'm pretty sure it's where. Let's focus this camera back up. There you go, back in order. It's called Autodoc. I'll send you a link to the website. Let's have a look. Yeah. I suggested the microphone changes is way better, and I thought I'd hop into your live stream for a bit. Yeah, that was very helpful. And I'll edit all my stuff with headphones on purely for that reason. I probably should have done anyway, but you live and learn. But yeah, thank you for that suggestion. The only thing I will say, Andre, I hope I'm saying that right. Use the phone app. If you have a phone, use it on your app. If you can't, obviously you can't, because on the app, the prices are cheaper than on the website, only by a little bit. They're not greatly expensive, but obviously if you're trying to save a bit of money, use the app because it's cheaper. RB, yep, you're very welcome. Thank you very much for your help. But yeah, approaching an hour for this stream. I don't think I've got a lot of battery left on the laptop. Now I've got 15 minutes remaining, so I'm going to start by rounding things off, saying thank you to everyone for watching. Thank you for participating. Thank you for everyone who's written in the chat. Thank you for everyone that's liked this actual stream itself. Thank you for subscribing if you're subscribed. If you haven't, then obviously make sure you get in there. Again, I'll be putting this video out as like a live stream video. I'll probably cut the first 5 minutes off while I wait for people to come in. And again, please subscribe. Obviously, like I said, you can see crap everywhere in the workshop. There's loads going on. Hopefully, I get a bit more time in here and get some more videos out, because frankly, I'm enjoying this. It's getting to the stage now where it's the more feedback I get from subscribers, the more effort I sort of put in, because it's a two-way street at the end of the day. Like I could watch videos all day, and I could make videos all day, and if no one watches them, then it's a bit disheartening, really. But if I make videos and people obviously comment, subscribe, things like that, it just gets better and better. So yeah, I say thank you, Life and Literature. Yeah, I'm going to say thank you for watching the stream. I'm going to end it on, I think an hour. Was it an hour? Yeah, we'll round it to an hour. Why not? Anything else anyone wants to ask me quickly while they're here before we go? I'm going to have to figure out what's going on with this chat as well, because frankly, it's not been working properly. I've had to use a pop-out chat. See how it goes. Yeah, I think my laptop's going to die. Yep, I've got 5 minutes remaining. So, right, I'm going to say goodbye. Thank you for watching the stream. It's much appreciated. Hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. I don't know when that'll be. I will schedule it again. Hopefully, this is a bit tidier next time you see it. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope to see you in the next one.